Okay, you guys, so I have an update on your girl Brandy if you have not heard. So, yesterday it was a lot of speculation going around that Brandy was in bad shape after she just walked off the stage mid performance. Now, if you're not up to date, Brandy and Monica are on tour together. The tour is called The Boy Is Mine. So after everyone was speculating whether Brandy was being a diva or really had a medical emergency, Brandy finally spoke out yesterday about what happened. To my dear fans in Chicago, thank you all for the overwhelming love, support, and most importantly, your prayers. I sincerely apologize for the abrupt end to last night's performance in Chicago. After weeks of nonstop rehearsals, last night I experienced dehydration and feelings of wanting to faint. Everyone involved agreed that prioritizing my well-being was of the utmost importance. I still made the decision to try and return and give it my all despite not feeling okay. With having to make some adjustments and the show being very technical, unfortunately, it was impossible to fully connect sonically with the production. I really appreciate everyone's best efforts. I'm deeply grateful for my sister Monica for stepping up with such grace and professionalism, and the entire crew for their continued care and support. I went from the arena to see a doctor nearby and have taken proper precautions to help moving forward. Your understanding, patience, and unwavering belief mean the world to me. I look forward to returning to the stage stronger and more graceful than ever alongside my girl Monica tonight in Indianapolis. With all my love, Brandy. And she did just that. She was on stage last night tearing it up per usual. So I'm happy that Brandy got back to herself. I mean, you do hear about this often. Sometimes these celebrities, these artists, they overwork themselves and they get dehydrated. So I'm happy she was able to bounce back and get back to herself. But y'all let me know, what did y'all think was going on with Brandy? Did you believe she was being a diva, or did you believe it was some type of medical emergency? Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. Moving on to the next story. Okay, y'all, so the drama between Brian McKnight and his kids continue, but this has reached a new level. So I did a video a few days ago about Brian McKnight celebrating that he won $8.8 million in a lawsuit against his ex-wife, Julie McKnight. So Julie wrote this book called Mama Bear Beautifully Blended back in 2023, and she talked about her experience raising her sons and allegedly said Brian was emotionally abusive and neglectful. Now, Brian sued her for defamation and he won by default judgment because Julie didn't even show up to court.
It's been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking. But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million. And this is just the beginning, because anyone and everyone that helped promote these lies will hear from my lawyer in the days to come. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. That from my voicemail is the voice of a liar.
Do not text Miko again. Do not call Miko again. Leilani, if you are also checking these messages, that goes for you as well. I am very serious about this. I am very serious about this. Do not text him, period. Period. Please understand that. And Brian, you know me. You know me. And you know that I mean what I'm saying.
Now, if you look at my last video, I break down the reasons as to why I'm very suspicious that that amount he won is $8.8 million based on the court records. But that same day Brian posted that video, October 16th, wasn't just any random day. It was his late son's Nico's birthday. Now, Nico passed away in May from cancer at the age of 32 years old. So Brian chose his dead son's birthday, who he abandoned and refused to reconcile with even during his son's last days, knowing his son wanted to reconcile with him to go on Instagram, smoke a cigar on the English countryside, and do this whole victory lap about winning money from Nico's mother. So Brian McKnight Jr., who is also Julie's son, saw this and absolutely lost it, y'all. He posted on his Instagram story saying he's tried so hard to stay quiet, to be the bigger person, to let things go, but he said his dad is a very hurt and emotionally unavailable and not an intelligent person who still hasn't dealt with his own mother's death. And then he issued a warning to Brian McKnight. Take a listen.
I've tried, man. I've tried really, really hard to not touch on shit, to let it go, to be the bigger person, to be mature, to be something. But the shit going on with my dad right now, man. If y'all aren't seeing what's happening, if y'all aren't seeing the fact that this is just a very hurt and a very emotionally unavailable and not intelligent person, the person that is still have not been able to handle the death of his own mother, the things that we're seeing him go through right now, to decide to make certain posts on my late brother's birthday. Say what you want, dog, but the gloves are off for me, just to keep it real. And there's and the thing about it is, it's like, I get it, man. You know, our parents, they're humans too. They've gone through things too. Whatever the grievances they have against each other, whatever. My issue is, though, man, you don't want me to start talking about the things that I had to deal with in my childhood, the things that I will take to my grave, the things that my brother took to his grave, that we could put out there, the things that we could say as a son, as a teenager, as a 15-year-old that my brother was when we started touring, the things that we went through together, the things that we actually saw, the things that we actually lived with and dealt with because our dad wasn't emotionally intelligent enough nor mature enough to actually be a father. You don't want that. And without even getting too deep, man, it's like to do it on my brother's late birthday, my baby brother's heavenly birthday, his first heavenly birthday. This is the post you decide to make? That's not petty? You don't think people are going to realize that that's ridiculous and that it's obviously strategic? Who are you trying to hurt if it's not me and my mother and our family? Who are you trying to hurt? Who are you trying to hurt, man? Which has always been my issue. Which is why way back when that started all this, I made the post that I made, because I knew that this was the only thing that would get you, man. Maybe that was my fault. I've taken accountability for it. But it's become obviously clear, and maybe not even just me, and I'm hoping to the masses that we're dealing with someone that has unchecked trauma that they're not dealing with. So in closing, man, just to keep it real, this isn't the last time I'm going to talk about this, because I've realized that maybe it's time for me to start talking about this kind of stuff. Maybe it's time for me to start not airing shit out, but being vulnerable enough and open enough as someone that has lived an insane life. I'm going to start talking about these things, man. It's unfortunate that we're going through this with my father. It's unfortunate that y'all are watching my father and my mother duke it out publicly. But what I can assure you is, though, the truth will be revealed. You'll feel it. You'll know it to be true. If you actually have a heart, if you actually have a soul, and you at the very least try, you'll see the truth.
Now, if you haven't been following this mess, let me catch you up real quick because this family feud has been going on for years. So basically, Brian McKnight married Julie McKnight in 1990. They had 2 sons together, Brian Jr. and Nico, and they ended up getting divorced in 2003. Everything seemed okay for a while. Then in 2017, Brian married his new wife, Leilani, and that's when things started getting real messy. By 2019, Brian was on social media talking about how he never missed child support and was always there for his kids. But Brian Jr. clapped back saying there's no situation that justifies how his father has treated his siblings and grandchildren. Then in 2023, Brian and Leilani had a baby and they named him Brian McKnight Jr. And yes, he already had a son named Brian McKnight Jr. and he named his new baby the same exact name. But there's a twist. He actually legally changed his own name to Brian Kanoa Makoa McKnight Sr. and named the baby Brian Kanoa Makoa McKnight Jr., but still Brian Jr. Now, if I got the name wrong, I did the best I could do, okay? But it gets worse. In 2024, Brian called his older kids products of sin on social media. He basically said they were evil and negative, and he only acknowledges his new wife's kids and their baby together on his Instagram. Now, just a side note, I knew he had 4 kids, but I didn't know about Evan McKnight and Braylon McKnight at all. Now, when Nico got cancer and was dying earlier this year, there are reports that Brian had no contact with him. So after Nico died in May, Brian posted blaming his ex-wife for keeping him away from Nico, but Julie called him a liar. So now here we are. Brian celebrates winning alleged millions and heavy on the alleged with that amount on his dead son's birthday. His other son finally snaps and says the gloves are off. People online are not here for Brian at all. Fans are calling him cold, narcissistic, and saying he takes joy in his family suffering. And I think this is a complete mess. Now, based on what the son was saying, it's kind of making me feel like it's a certain direction that story would go in, but I'm not going to say anything, okay? If he does choose to expose it, I'll just do a story on that. But this is very, very sad. So basically, those kids are also holding a lot of trauma from their dad. But I have to keep you guys updated on what Brian McKnight Jr. has to say and if he speaks out again. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this sad situation. But that's all I have for you, and I'll talk to you later.